Hi there, I'm Alan R from Motor Matters, your favourite channel for everything new, good, exciting motoring in South Africa. Whatever you want to know, whatever you want to see, you'll find it on Motor Matters. Today we're showing you the new Nissan Qashqai. I was on the launch not long ago and you saw the video that I shot at the launch as well. But let's just take a brief look now. This is the top of the range Accenta Plus model. Very important to take note because there are certain features you're going to see that you don't get on the Accenta or the Vizier. You've got, of course, the Nissan family V grille, as they call it, the family face. Every brand seems to have their family face lately, don't they? But now, of course, on Accenta Plus, you get intelligent lighting. What do I mean by intelligent lighting? Well, for example, the high beams, if they detect a car approaching, they either kill certain beams or they'll swing the lights to the side. So what I'm saying to you is, if you're on high beam, you're still not going to blind approaching traffic, but you've got the benefit of high beam lighting while you're cruising along on the road, and that's what you want. Come around over here, of course, on Accenta Plus again, nice big 19-inch mag wheels over there. You can see what they look like. Qashqai has grown from the last generation. This is the third generation version, and it's grown up into a much bigger car. This really fits now C-segment SUV. It's no longer a crossover SUV. The market segment that Nissan say they defined in the beginning. You have a look, note how the door opens to a 90-degree. Very useful when you want to put goods in, or maybe if there's a baby seat in the back and you want to put the little one in there. Wider opening doors make a big difference. Let me just climb in here, you'll see. Look at this. Nice space in the back seat. Lots of room for me, headroom with my hat on. All the features you want, you expect, they're here. Aircon vents, no controls in the back, and you've got a USB and a USB-C in the back seat. Useful features. Of course, Accenta Plus gives you full leather, and you see you've even got the quilted, as they call it, leather over here in the top model. So it looks really fancy and smart, doesn't it? As you would expect from a top of the range model. That's important to me. Come round to the back over here, of course, and you'll see, very importantly, the nice sharp tail lights over here, all LED lighting these days, which I think is quite important. Pop open, surprisingly not electric open and close for the tailgate. I say surprisingly for where we are in the marketplace. It's the one thing that I would have thought may have been there but isn't. And over here you'll see, interestingly, a 17-inch spare wheel, but it is a full-sized wheel. So it's quite an interesting little feature. And the other thing is, if you have a look in the middle over here, this is, of course, the woofer and the system for your Bose sound system. Just over there. Nicely carpeted in the rear. You can see it's a nice big boot. And, of course, as you'd expect, you can drop the rear seats 2/3, 1/3 to make way more space. Mentioned the hardship of having to close the rear tailgate on your own instead of having that, but really you've got, of course, the requisite spoiler over the rear tailgate, and of course note the two-tone with a black roof, which has become such a feature lately of so many cars in these categories. Qashqai is powered by a 1.3 litre 3-cylinder turbo petrol engine, 110 kilowatts, 250 Newton meters, with, you will not believe me when I tell you, but it's a CVT automatic powering the front wheels. But many people don't believe this is a CVT. Drive it and you'll see what I'm talking about. Let's check it out on the road. Let's check it out inside. One of the features that I like most about this car is just how smooth, quiet and comfortable it is. It really is a cruiser, and it cruises so smoothly and comfortably. The engine is punchy. It feels like it's even got a bit more power than the figures say on paper. But I think you may have noticed you can't feel a gear shift at any stage whatsoever. It just is sublime, it's smooth, it's comfortable, it's everything in all those words that I can mention. Handles bumps nicely. It just takes the road very, very comfortably and smoothly. And you'll see over here, for example, I'm certainly not going to race around in suburbia, but it is very smooth, very comfortable, and very easy. Auto wipers, you may have noticed, that also work. So it's got auto wipers, auto on headlights, and even, as I said, from the outside, the intelligent headlights, which means not only do the headlights come on automatically, but they'll go put on the high beams automatically when they detect the need for that as well. So you've got that feature coming in for you just as much. Bit of a storm around at the moment. You can see a tree down blocking half the road over there as we come through. Stormy Joburg summer weather. What more can you say? It could explain why the roads are so wet as well, couldn't it? Just all functions of what's going on at the moment. But you'll see this is not our standard suburbia little area, cruise area that we're using lately. And here's up the hill. Obviously you do hear the engine when I put my foot down slightly, but it's still nothing much. I haven't gone into sport mode, it's not worth it for this, but I can tell you it just does give a touch more growl. Also, pretty nice handling around bends. You can see that's a sharpish little bend over there. And I just want to end this segment when we get to our 3-point turn spot, as I call it, that you can see at the end of the road. And you can see just how nicely this car handles in, can I call it a tighter area or a tighter space, for example. So let's just see, here we are. We're at our little spot where we always turn around, and let's see what it does compared to some of the other cars that we've been testing lately. I may have to be careful because there are a lot of twigs around. Well, no, it's not going to make it in one. We'll have to just pop her into reverse. Cameras showing everything I can possibly need. And there you go. Nice and easy. One of the features in the Accenta Plus is the fact that you have what they call comfort access. So I don't know if you noticed the seat moving forward as I pressed the start button. And then if I press that button over there, you'll see the memory function in operation as well, because the Mrs. drove the car here and Mrs. R sets the seat very differently to what I do. So you've got that immediately as features on this version. You have, of course, got full digital instrumentation. Would you expect any less than that? And I'm not going to spend time toggling through, but you know you've got every possible function on this instrumentation that you could possibly want. Now, let's talk. We've done quite a lot of mileage on this test. I think we've done 500 plus kilometers, averaging 7.7 liters per 100. Possibly a touch heavier than I would like or than I'd expect in a car like this. But then again, it's got the oomph, it's got the performance, and I've enjoyed the performance. So maybe that's part of it. You have got, of course, active cruise control. You've got blind spot warning. You've got the full safety suite on this car, and that's what Accenta Plus gives you. You've even got, I can't show you the buttons right now, but you've even got massage function for both driver and front passenger. Very neat controls over here. And there's the button I normally press very quickly, because that switches out the stop-start function. You know I hate those with an absolute passion. You come across the center over here, and of course you've got your infotainment screen. You can see the nice big split screen. It's got built-in navigation, which of course I like. That's on the home screen. You can go where you want. There's full navigation if you want. And it's also got, just drop down to just below there, it's got a button over here that says camera. You press that and look at this. You've got the overhead 360 as well as the front camera, and you can change around. You can do funny things with these. You've of course got the reverse camera, which I showed you a moment, I told you about, so I don't have to show that to you. But there you've got the camera for the left side of the car as well, when you're parking even. So and there you can see, as I scroll through, the different camera functions you've got. These are features that make the Accenta Plus the car that it is, as far as I'm concerned. Very interesting is a volume knob, a proper volume knob over there for you, for of course increasing, decreasing volume while you do it. Dual zone climate control, very effective, works very well. And note, of course, inductive charging pad over there, with also wireless Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. Very unusual little gear lever over here, but it falls nicely to hand. It works well. That's all you can ever ask for. And over there's the button for drive modes. You've got Eco, Standard and Sport. And Sport, of course, is very effective, as I showed when we drove out into the country, and it just gives you that little bit more grunt, a little bit more oomph. But let's talk this. I'm amazed to call it a CVT, automatic transmission. It feels like a normal auto, a normal torque converter. It responds beautifully. You've got paddles on the steering wheel if you want to use them to override, but it shifts and behaves like a normal auto. It really does, and that makes such a difference. You've got 7 airbags. You've got autonomous driving. You've got all these features that I can't even go through. We covered so many of them at the launch. And you've got the Bose sound system. And you can see the soft touch on the dashboard, the steering, the stitching, and even the wood effect, for example. All of those things are there. Well, I've said it before, I'll say it again. We got quite a shock when we heard the initial pricing of this model. But if you look at the features, you look at the fact of how much it's grown up from the previous generation, and you look at what you're getting, this actually is pretty competitive. And it makes a pretty compelling case for itself. If you're in this market category, you really need to do yourself the favor of checking out this Qashqai before you just look at the price and say no. I can seriously, strongly recommend that fact. For Motor Matters, I'm Alan R. See you next time.